everyone, I'm Jonathan Shaw, founder of Decoding Pain, and in this video I want to share with you how I treat autoimmune problems. So if you're suffering with an autoimmune problem right now, then I want to reassure you that you can get rid of it. You can get your health back again. However, it's not a quick fix. It's not going to happen in a few weeks or a couple of months. My experience of working with autoimmune problems, it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months minimum to resolve an autoimmune problem, and that depends on how complex it is or how many autoimmune problems you actually have. Some people have more than one. For instance, my client who had chronic regional pain syndrome, it took us 10 to 11 months to completely resolve that problem. But it can be done. You can get rid of it. And the way that I do it now, certainly, is I use my DTO system, which I created a few years back. In the past, I've used other systems, but I use the DTO system because it does something very specific that the other systems don't do. So generally, the way I look at autoimmune problems is the stress that has created it. I look at it from the point of view that stress has created the problem and it's affecting your health physically, mentally, emotionally. Now, the reason it does that is because what the stress is doing is putting you into a fight and flight response. And when you're in that fight and flight response, organs shut down, other organs react, things switch on, things switch off, and your body starts to react in ways that it shouldn't be doing. So what I do is I find the stresses that the organs are reacting to or the body is reacting to, and I switch them off. However, my DTO system does it in a very different way, because in the past, what I used to do is go back to the past memory or the past situation that happened that triggered it off originally. So the stress from years back. And while that works very well, sometimes it doesn't always work. So what I do now is I actually find the trigger in your environment, because whatever stresses that you're going through are actually being triggered right now. Whether it's a situation that's happening sort of recently or whether it happened 20 years ago, it's still being triggered right now if it's affecting you, which means all of your triggers are around you. So if you're experiencing lots of fear, for instance, and you're frightened of certain things or people or situations, then what that's doing is it's being triggered in your environment now by the people you see, by the things you hear, by the images that you're seeing around you, and even very subtle things can trigger you. And what my DTO system does is it takes those triggers, it allows me to find those triggers myself and show you how to switch them off and how we can switch them off together in sessions. And once you switch a trigger off, the trigger no longer bothers you. So you can see or hear that thing again and you no longer react in the same fight or flight response. You are just back to being you. Essentially, my DTO system, that's what it does. It brings you back to being you, because if you are suffering any type of pain really, but especially an autoimmune problem, you are always in fight and flight a lot of the time, and you not always aware of it. Sometimes you are. In fact, a lot of people know that they feel like they're in fight and flight, and they just don't know what to do about it. But it can be switched off. The problem is when you're in fight and flight, you're not being the real you. So you are responding and reacting to things unnaturally from a fear-based energy, rather than just a natural, healthy energy that is the real you. And the DTO system, by switching off those triggers, just brings you back to being the real you by switching off your fight and flight. Now, that's a very basic overview of how I treat autoimmune problems, but that is literally the way I do it. As I say, it does take time, but if you've got the perseverance, if you really want to get rid of it, then it can be done. And the DTO is a really good way of doing that. If you have any questions about your particular autoimmune problem, if whether I've worked with it before or whether it can be solved, then please drop me a line. If you're in the UK, you can call me, or you can email me if you're around the world at jonathan@decodingpain.com. And I look forward to speaking with you and seeing you soon. Until then, stay healthy, stay happy, keep smiling, and I look forward to seeing you on another video.